The rain hammered against the windshield of Marcus Wellington's Mercedes as he navigated the unfamiliar backstreets of downtown Chicago. His GPS had failed him 20 minutes ago, leaving the tech entrepreneur lost in a part of the city he'd only seen from helicopter rides to business meetings. At 42, Marcus had built an empire from nothing, transforming a small software startup into a billion-dollar corporation. He had everything money could buy: penthouses, private jets, vacation homes across 3 continents. Yet tonight, as thunder cracked overhead and lightning illuminated the desperate faces of people huddled in doorways, he felt uncomfortably aware of how little he truly understood about the world beyond his gilded existence. He was searching for an alternate route to the interstate when his headlights swept across something that made him slam on the brakes. Beneath the concrete overhang of the Morrison Street Bridge, partially hidden by cardboard boxes and a tattered blue tarp, sat a woman cradling a small child. The image lasted only seconds, but it seared itself into Marcus's consciousness with startling clarity. The woman's eyes had met his through the rain, not pleading, not angry, just exhausted and resigned. Marcus sat frozen in his leather seat, engine idling, wipers beating their rhythmic pattern. Every rational part of his brain told him to drive away. He had a 7 a.m. meeting with investors from Tokyo. His security team would have a fit if they knew he was even in this neighborhood. Besides, what could he possibly do? The city had shelters, social services, programs designed for situations like this. But those eyes haunted him. Before he could second-guess himself, Marcus pulled over, grabbed the umbrella from his passenger seat, and stepped into the downpour. His $1,000 Italian shoes squelched through puddles as he approached the bridge. Up close, the scene was even more heartbreaking. The woman couldn't have been more than 25, with dark circles under her eyes and clothes that had long ago lost their battle with the elements. The child, a little girl maybe 4 or 5 years old, wore a pink jacket 2 sizes too small and clutched a one-eyed stuffed rabbit. "I'm sorry to intrude," Marcus said, immediately feeling foolish. Sorry to intrude. On their home under a bridge. I saw you from the road. Are you okay? Is there anything you need? The woman studied him with wary intelligence, her arm tightening protectively around her daughter. "We're fine," she said, her voice hoarse but firm. "We don't want any trouble." "No trouble," Marcus assured her, holding up his empty hands. This storm is getting worse. Have you eaten? Can I get you something warm?" The little girl's eyes widened at the mention of food, and something cracked in the mother's carefully maintained composure. "We had some crackers earlier," she said quietly. "Thank you for asking." Marcus's heart clenched. "Wait here," he said, then immediately realized how absurd that sounded. Where else would they go? He jogged back to his car and retrieved everything edible from his emergency kit: protein bars, bottled water, a bag of trail mix he'd forgotten about. He added his cashmere overcoat and returned to the bridge. The woman accepted the items with trembling hands, immediately opening a protein bar and breaking off pieces for her daughter. As the child ate with desperate hunger, the mother's story spilled out in fragments. Her name was Sarah. She'd been a paralegal before her firm downsized. Her daughter, Emma, had just started kindergarten when Sarah's savings ran out. They'd been living in her car until it was repossessed 3 weeks ago. The shelters were full, and she was terrified of the foster care system separating her from Emma. "I have interviews next week," Sarah said with fragile hope. 2 retail positions. "Once I get that first paycheck, we can afford a room. We just have to make it until then." Marcus listened, really listened, in a way he hadn't listened to another human being in years. His days were filled with board meetings, shareholder calls, and networking events where everyone wanted something from him. But Sarah asked for nothing. She simply existed, trying to keep her daughter safe and warm in a world that had abandoned them both. "I have an idea," Marcus said slowly. "And I want you to feel completely free to say no. I own a property management company, among other things. One of our buildings downtown has a vacant unit that just finished renovation. It's completely furnished. You and Emma could stay there while you get back on your feet." Sarah's eyes filled with tears, but she shook her head. "I can't accept charity. I won't." "It's not charity," Marcus said quickly. "Consider it a trial employment program. You said you were a paralegal. My company desperately needs someone to organize our corporate housing contracts. The job comes with accommodation. You'd be doing me a favor, honestly." Our current system is a disaster. It was partly true, his property division did need better organization. But Marcus would have said anything in that moment to get this woman and child out of the rain. Sarah looked at her daughter, who had fallen asleep against her shoulder, still clutching the stuffed rabbit. When she looked back at Marcus, tears streamed down her face. "Why are you doing this? You don't know us." Marcus thought about his own childhood, raised by a single mother who'd worked 3 jobs to keep him fed and housed. He thought about the mentor who'd taken a chance on him when he was just a kid with a laptop and a dream. He thought about all the times he'd driven past suffering, telling himself it wasn't his responsibility. "Because someone helped me once," he said simply. "And because I can." That night changed everything. Sarah moved into the apartment with Emma, and Marcus discovered she wasn't just competent, she was brilliant. Within 3 months, she'd revolutionized his property management system, saving the company millions. Within 6 months, she'd been promoted to director of operations. But more than that, Sarah and Emma became part of Marcus's life in ways he never anticipated. Emma's laughter in the office brightened everyone's day. Sarah's perspective, shaped by real struggle, made Marcus reevaluate his entire approach to business and philanthropy. He started a foundation dedicated to preventing homelessness, hiring Sarah to run it. Together, they created programs that provided not just shelter, but job training, childcare, and mental health support, addressing the root causes rather than just the symptoms. 3 years later, Marcus stood in the ballroom of the Chicago Hilton, watching Sarah accept a humanitarian award for their foundation's work. They'd housed over 2,000 families, with an 85% success rate of long-term stability. Emma, now a confident 8-year-old, sat in the front row beaming at her mother. In his speech, Marcus talked about that rainy night under the Morrison Street Bridge. "I thought I was successful," he told the audience. "I had money, power, influence. But I had forgotten what any of it was for." Sarah and Emma didn't just receive help that night, they gave it. They reminded me that our humanity isn't measured by what we accumulate, but by what we're willing to share. As applause filled the room, Marcus caught Sarah's eye and saw her mouth 2 words, "Thank you." But he was the one who was grateful. That moment of choosing compassion over convenience hadn't just changed 2 lives under a bridge. It had transformed his entire understanding of what it meant to be truly wealthy, and truly human.